Good morning. Welcome to Reiki Wednesday. I'm Jamie Lee of Animal Bonds. Thank you for joining me this morning. If you're watching this video live, thank you. I know it's early this morning. And if you're watching the replay, thank you as well. Please feel free to leave comments down below if you're watching live, or a little like or something so I know you're here. And if you're on the replay, feel free to share this video with anyone that you think may enjoy it. So before we get going, last week we were talking about how animals help us release trauma. And there was a question after the broadcast about other ways, because some ways they do it is they shake it off. And is there any other way that we can release trauma? And that was a great question. So thank you, Kaynella, for that question. Yes, that's one of the things that a Reiki session helps do, is peel away the layers of trauma. So besides shaking, dancing, moving, you can also enjoy a Reiki session to help release the layers of trauma. So those of us that live with animals already know this. We know that animals are beings who enjoy life. They grieve at loss. They appreciate beauty. They form social networks. And fortunately for us, they love unconditionally. So science is catching up. Our relationship with animals has the ability to transform our life. And science is showing that now as well. We've already known that. Just the mere act of petting your cat or dog or your companion animal can lower your blood pressure. It can lower your heart rate. It can reduce stress. Owning or living, I should say, with a companion animal helps reduce minor illnesses like headaches, colds, hay fever, that type of thing is lower in people who own animals. And studies have proven that. So that's finally catching up. And yes, pets can help heal our psyches and they can help heal our bodies. But there's another thing they can do that we sometimes forget about, and they can teach us. Now, most of us know that animals play an important role in teaching kindness and empathy to children and to adults. But the lessons go even deeper than that. Animals teach us to live outside of words, to listen to another being's spirit, the consciousness of their spirit. And if we're willing to explore the idea that animals are our teachers and mentors, we can transform our life. They really do want to help us live a life of excellence. And they're more than willing to show us how to do that. So let's face it, we don't wake up in the morning and if we're feeling great, I feel good, I'm happy, I'm at peace, I think I'll change my life. That's really not how humans work. So animals know that too. What happens is we wake up and we go, I'm wiped out, I'm tired, I'm disillusioned, I'm disappointed, I just don't know if I can keep doing this. That's the point where we say, I think I need to change. And animals are here to help us do that. So therapists say there are 4 core beliefs, false beliefs, that people hold that keep them from this life of excellence. And that is, I'm not safe, protected, or supported. Excuse me. I'm not good enough. I'm not deserving or worthy. And the last one, I'm not lovable. Those are the 4 false core beliefs that cause a lot of trouble in people. And if we're holding one of these beliefs, our quality of life is going to suffer. And it's time for a change. And our animals know it. They can tap into these feelings that we're having, and they can inspire us to change. So how do they do that? Well, there's a number of ways. One of the ways is through mimicking our behavior. So it's important to watch your animal, especially if they're doing something that you don't like, or misbehaving or anything like that. They may be mimicking your behavior. And I want to tell you a story about a woman that I was fortunate enough to meet. She had asked me to offer Reiki to her dog. Her dog had cancer. It was going in for surgery, but the vet didn't have a lot of hope. But they weren't sure. So she asked for some Reiki for her dog. And when I met her in an outside enclosed area. And the dog was crazy. He was running. He was in a state of panic, basically. And he was going around this yard and running. And he was not interested in me. He was not interested in her. All he was doing was just running as fast as he could in a circle. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to help him because I couldn't even get his attention. So, as she was explaining this to me, I realized she was the same way. She was in a panic too. It turns out this was the first dog she had ever owned. Now, she had another one that she had acquired since then, but this was her first dog, her first love. She loved him dearly. She had never been through the experience of losing an animal that she loved, of feeling that kind of grief. And she was in a panic. And she was talking a mile a minute. And she, as fast as that dog was running, she was running. They were both just these little whirlwinds going out of control. So I asked her if I could offer her Reiki. And she looked at me a little funny, but then she agreed. So I just sat her down in a chair, put my hands on her shoulders, and began the session. And I got still. And then all of a sudden she let out it wasn't even 3 minutes, she let out this deep sigh. And the dog, who had still been far away, came over, trotted over, laid down at her feet, and he let out a sigh. And so for the rest of the session, the dog just laid there with her, both of them calm, peaceful, having this moment. They were present. So what happened? The dog was mimicking. The dog wasn't upset that it had cancer. The dog wasn't upset that it might make its transition. The dog wasn't worried about any of that. The dog had tapped in to her emotions, to her feelings, knew that she was in a panic, and he was mimicking, showing her, look what you're doing. You're in a panic. And then after the session, they were both calm for a while. So that's the idea of mimicking. Now, they can also do other things. They can do things that are just the opposite of our behavior. So say someone is very successful. They're very driven. They want to achieve. They have a strong drive. They're always on the go. They're always over here doing this, doing that, working, that kind of thing. What may happen is this strong, healthy person who's go, and when they're not working, they're running, or just always on the move, just constant motion, may have a dog who gets, or a cat, or any animal that gets ill and needs care because it can no longer care for itself. And what's happening there is the animal again is tapping in because the person is not living in the moment. They're not fully present in this life. And so the animal knows that it has to teach the person to slow down. And how do they do that? They do that by getting ill, by needing to be taken care of. So once they are ill, to teach us something, you slow down. You have to give them medicine. You have to care for them. They need a little more care. And then when you're in the present moment, you might realize, wow, I've been missing all this, and I could have had time. So they're teaching us to be fully present. However, they need to do that. Whether they need to become sick, whether they need to start acting out, whatever it takes, they're getting your attention to become present. So we can learn a lot from the behavior of our animals. Sometimes they're mimicking us, and sometimes they're doing just the opposite. But the next time your animal starts doing something, just take a look at it and see, is there a lesson there for you? So in everything we do, Animals teach us lessons and they assist us. And I believe that is one of the great lessons that animals teach us, is that all life, human, animal, plants, every living thing on this planet is interconnected in the web of life. And as we strive to improve and live a life of excellence, it's important to remember that for us to live a life of excellence, every living thing on this planet has to be allowed to live a life of excellence. So I want to thank everyone for joining me today. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to share them. Skip's down here. He wants to say hi. Come on. So he's joining today. Just in the very last bit, he's going to come say hi. This little guy is another one who causes me to slow down and really be present. He can be very demanding about it. He's almost 17 years old. And so he will remind me very quickly if I get a little too focused on stuff, and I'm very, very grateful for him. So again, everyone, thank you for joining me. Please have a beautiful, blessed day. Go throughout the day. Take a look at what your animals are trying to teach you. And as always, walk gently upon this earth. Thank you. Bye-bye.